always have Paris. We didn't have. We lost it until you came to Casablanca.
Welcome to MsMojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the most revered and memorable endings to movies made prior to 1970.
Anyway, it wouldn't have explained anything. I don't think any word can explain a man's life.
Since we will be talking about endings, here is your requisite spoiler alert. Number 10, The Star Child, 2001, A Space Odyssey. The flight through a vortex of colored lights leads to a bedroom where Dave becomes an aged version of himself, until, in the end, he reverts back to a fetus, seen floating above the Earth in some kind of orb. We might not all agree on what the ending of 2001: A Space Odyssey means, or even have any idea at all. But once you've seen the film, there's no way you will ever forget it. The Star Child, the Strauss music, it is a bold vision that puts a coda on a film that is all about bold visions and ideas. Number 9, Hello, Switzerland, The Sound of Music.
You will not be alone. Remember, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills from whence cometh my help.
In the classic 1965 musical, the hills aren't just alive with the sound of music, but in the final scene, we witness the sound of freedom as well. It's via the green hills and mountains that Maria and the rest of the Von Trapp family escape Austria and the Nazis for the freedom of neighboring Switzerland. As the family walks along, the song Climb Every Mountain is reprised with the camera pulling out to show us the beauty of the mountains and the new life they're walking towards. Number 8, Wouldn't Hurt a Fly, Psycho. When it comes to Psycho, there are multiple iconic moments and images.
He was always bad, and in the end he intended to tell them I killed those girls and that man.
Of course, there's the shower scene that gets discussed as much as probably any scene in the history of cinema. There's the scene near the end where we learn the truth about Norman Bates' mother. And then there's that final scene, the one that brings it all together. While it is Norman sitting in a jail cell, it's his mother's voice that we hear via voiceover, as she tells us that she has now completely taken over his person.
I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know, and they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
A takeover further cemented visually with the famous quick frame of the superimposed image of Bates' mother's skull on his face. Number 7, Nobody's Perfect, Some Like It Hot.
My friend Josephine, gonna be a bridesmaid? Well, pleased to meet you. Come on. She's so eager.
In Some Like It Hot, Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon play jazz musicians who dress up as women to escape after witnessing a mafia murder. As the story progresses, Jack Lemmon as Daphne becomes the object of affection of a millionaire named Osgood Fielding III.
All right, driver. Once around the park, slowly, and keep your eyes on the road.
As Daphne, he agrees to marry Osgood, but at the end of the film, as they're escaping on a boat, Lemmon attempts to get out of it. He comes up with numerous reasons, none of which is persuasive to Osgood. Then, in a final desperate move he's sure will end any amorous feelings, he takes off his wig to reveal his true male self. What follows is what the American Film Institute ranked among the 100 greatest movie quotes of all time.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Number 6, An Angel Gets His Wings, It's a Wonderful Life.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right.
Life isn't looking so wonderful to George Bailey at the beginning of this classic 1946 film. Seeing himself as a failure to both his family and his business, George is standing on a bridge contemplating an end to his life.
At exactly 10:45 p.m. Earth time, that man will be thinking seriously of throwing away God's greatest gift.
Oh, dear, dear, his life. Then I've only an hour to dress.
But then comes along the angel Clarence Oddbody, who makes George realize how much he has truly done for all the people around him. In the final scene, George returns home to find that the town has rallied behind him and saved him and his business. As the crowd sings Auld Lang Syne, you can't help but smile, and maybe shed a tear, each and every time.
Auld Lang Syne.
really is a wonderful life. Number 5. Maniacs, Planet of the Apes.
Planet where apes evolved from men? There's got to be an answer.
Don't look for it, Taylor. You may not like what you find.
Initially, the astronauts believe they're on an alien planet 300 light years from home and over 2,000 years in the future. That sure does make sense to the viewer once we meet the talking apes that rule said planet.
These animals are dirty. They stink and they carry communicable diseases. Why aren't they cleaned up before they're brought here?
You don't sound happy in your work.
It isn't until the very last moments of the film that we witness one of the great twist endings in film history. At first, we aren't quite sure what Charlton Heston as George Taylor is looking at. But why does he stop and dismount his horse?
Oh my God. I'm back. I'm home.
What has he seen that has him so shocked and angry and slamming his fist into the sand? And then we see it.
You maniacs! You blew it up!
The Statue of Liberty. They've been on Earth the whole time. Number 4. Norma's Close-Up, Sunset Boulevard.
Are you ready, Norma?
What is the scene? Where am I?
Sunset Boulevard is a classic film about celebrity, fame, and one woman's descent into madness when all that goes away. Norma Desmond was a huge star of the silent film era, but these days, she is all but forgotten and desperate once again for the adulation and celebrity of stardom.
You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures, used to be big.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
Unfortunately, she can't see or isn't willing to admit to herself that that isn't going to happen. Even when the police come to arrest her for murder, Desmond's complete mental distance from reality has her thinking she is finally making her big comeback movie. It is sad and dark, and it is all summed up with her final words to the director.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Number 3. It's a Sled, Citizen Kane. Rosebud, the final word of Charles Foster Kane.
Rosebud.
What does it mean? In essence, that is what Citizen Kane is about. Considered by many to be the greatest film ever made, Orson Welles' masterpiece is a true exploration of the art of filmmaking and was innovative in so many ways.
Gee, you know an awful lot of tricks. You're not a professional magician, are you?
No, I'm not a magician.
The entire film is a classic from start to finish, but that finish cannot be denied its iconic status in the history of cinema. What was it that meant so much to this man who had everything?
Rosebud, dead or alive. It'll probably turn out to be a very simple thing.
This man was richer and more powerful than almost anyone on the planet. As the film comes to an end, it appears as though we will never know. And then, through the flames, we see it. Rosebud. Number 2. Frankly, my dear, Gone with the Wind.
I want to see if somewhere there isn't something left in life of charm and grace. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I only know that I love you.
That's your misfortune.
Given that Gone with the Wind is, adjusted for inflation, the highest-grossing movie of all time, there obviously must be more iconic moments throughout its almost 4-hour runtime than the final scene. And there are. But oh, that final scene, it sure has stuck with us for over 80 years now. Even many of those who haven't put in the 221 minutes to watch the movie know Rhett Butler's famous last words to Scarlett O'Hara.
You go. Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Not to mention O'Hara's final words of the film as she decides she must return home and isn't willing to give up on getting Rhett back. At least, not today.
After all, tomorrow is another day.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. The Sound of Silence, The Graduate. They've run off together. Now what?
Planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence.
Final Showdown, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. From the Mexican standoff to the final shot, and Ennio Morricone's amazing score. We'll meet again, Dr. Strangelove. An explosive finale to say the least.
Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again.
tragic morning, Night of the Living Dead. Ben managed to survive the night, only to be mistaken for a ghoul and killed.
All right, Vince, hit him in the head, right between the eyes.
It all comes full circle, all about Eve. There will always be another Eve.
You want someday to have an award like that of your own?
More than anything else in the world.
Then you must ask Miss Harrington how to get one. Miss Harrington knows all about it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, an ending and a beginning. Casablanca.
Now, you've got to listen to me. You have any idea what you'd have to look forward to if you stayed here?
We thought about not putting Casablanca atop our list, but we knew that if we didn't put it at number 1, we would regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of our lives.
Inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. You're part of his work, the thing that keeps him going. If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it.
So, here it is. The iconic Humphrey Bogart sending away the love of his life because he knows it's the right thing to do.
I said I would never leave you.
And you never will. But I've got a job to do, too. Where I'm going, you can't follow. What I've got to do, you can't be any part of.
While the audience was probably wishing to see him and Ingrid Bergman walk off together at the end of the movie, instead, we got Bogey and Claude Rains walking off into the night to begin their beautiful friendship. And we loved it. Which final scene on our list holds a special place in your cinematic heart? Let us know in the comments. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.